Welcome to the buymeacoffee.com/James Poeartistry, the coffee tips page that supports my James Poeartistry creative productions and work. See also jamespoeartistry.online.
Hello, Perceptive Reader. This is James Lynch, and welcome to this consultant moment at the buymeacoffee.com/James Poeartistry. I want to share with you today several thoughts, and they come about from anecdotal stories, statements, and the reality that we deal in. And let me emphasize the reality that's really without spirituality. The reality without spirituality. So, what is that statement? The statement is the world is full of BS and you just have to deal with it. Okay? And so I ask the next question then, where is the BS coming from? You see, when you're raised and you're talking with people, and you may even have said yourself, it's just the way it is, or it is what it is. And so people go along, as you know, and you do the best you can, and you try to be as wise as you can in dealing with certain matters. However, in order to not get caught in the trap of not only making a statement that, hey, the BS just comes with every type of job or occupation, as some would feel or say that, especially in the leadership areas, the supervisory type of areas and things of that nature, policies, stuff like that. So it's almost like, as one conversation I mentioned to you about, sometimes where you can be in a meeting that's supposed to have an agenda to even accomplish something, really something worthwhile. And yet what it may boil down to is just appeasing some other type of just personality from moving one chair to one corner to another. Well, just because of this person hang up fetish or whatever. See that where you start getting into BS. So it's one of those things that in some cases people say, well, okay, well, what does it matter? Just go ahead and yield. And a lot of people do overall. And then there are some situations where yielding to that type of view or that type of thinking can actually have a bigger meaning to it. You see what I'm saying? It can actually have some people who may not really be in the know, as if you're really agreeing or giving consensus to something that you're not. And that's the way the BS often works. That's one of the reasons why people don't like to be direct with others. That's why people don't like to correspond directly with others, because they always seem to want to have some type of plausible deniability that also they can weasel their way out of this situation or that situation. That's not that everybody thinks that way. I'm just telling you there are some people who do. And so that's why to be a standing man and a standing woman, to talk matters out very clearly, it's not done. And they'll make it seem like that's an incorrect way of doing it. And that's why I say next, in who eyes, it's an incorrect way of doing it. Why? Okay. Who thought this up? And so that's why I emphasize again the world of this reality without spirituality, because I tell you what spirituality actually does according to God's house. That's exactly the way that people move. That's the way that they step towards resolving problems. So in the world of reality without spirituality, that doesn't mean that the people who have to deal with the BS every day, no one is excluded, still don't try to use wisdom in this way or that way. What I just want to really emphasize a couple of things still, that no matter what, because the way that the laws of the land are based and policies against discrimination and everything, you see, people can believe what they want and choose to worship whatever deity they choose to worship. See, and so they would say that they have a spiritual upbringing one way or the other. I told you years ago that I've just found, for the most part, a lot of people are not only spiritual, but they also have connections with spiritism. That's that they're either one or they're both in general. And sometimes they don't even realize that. All the same, we realize that sometimes you just do things because, hey, it may just, again, appease somebody else, just arbitrary whims that you kind of wish and hope they would have outgrown, at least by now. Now, this is what I mean by outgrown. By now, it doesn't mean that you don't have a hilarious type of personality that gets way out there with someone else who's jiving with you in that way. You see what I'm saying? That's your vibe with that person or persons. It's when the BS is forced upon, see, that's what I mean, other individuals who, as we used to say, just don't play that way, especially with somebody who they haven't established a deep connection with in the first place. So you may see them enjoying themselves playing cards or even having a drink with somebody else in a restaurant, but then you shouldn't get upset if that person doesn't want to do it with you. And yet I've seen arguments come about because of that. And that's a shame. That's really a shame. And that's what I mean. People who are able to outgrow that, not everybody they're going to really jive with on that level. And they shouldn't start vendettas against that person because that person just don't want to be around them. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't mean allowing discrimination either, where we could get into work performance and jobs and stuff like that. That's not what I mean. What I'm still saying in general, to keep the principles in mind, that no matter what we are doing, especially when it pertains to our spirituality, see, God had the Apostle Paul even emphasized in several of his letters, that he said to stay away from stuff that just cause squabbles or debates. Some of the words I just mentioned probably are quoted, but the whole spirit, he does go into that when he was talking about being in union of the same mind. It doesn't mean hive mind, but it does basically means that, you know what, don't argue about things that, you know, again, in one sense, he said, is going to lead to just more. He used a strong word that was more on the line of more badness in the sense, or hatefulness, feelings and things of that nature that could come from it, when in reality, you see, in the place of the spirituality and the spiritual brotherhood, they shouldn't have went there in the first place with this person or that individual. See, and that's what Paul was saying, you know, things that just really lead to more problems. And so really, there are conversations that are had within the spiritual arrangement in the church that you won't bit more see, you know, really said in general in other settings or professional settings. You see what I'm saying? At the most, you see, in professional settings, you may hear a person mention about the golden rule or something of that nature, but you know what? They're not really breaking out into a full-fledged sermon of saying, this is the religion, you see, we follow at this business or what have you. No, they don't go into those type of speeches. It's just giving you a principle and moving on. Um, and so, if they were to go any further, it could cause a very great disruption, even in that company business structure. Now, couldn't it? Yes, it could. And so it's likewise the same thing with the church, to bring some of this stuff from the BS reality into the church setting, and then actually try to strong arm people into doing things and reacting in a certain way that to them, again, it's like, well, who made this rule? Why did somebody say this? And then when you track down who it came from, you see, that'll tell you a lot right there. So I just wanted to share that with you today. This was a James Poeartistry consultant moment. Keep doing the best that you can. And remember, we do not accept bribes, even in the BS of the world. Take care.